Hey guys, EBPMAN here. So, what are the first few things that you should be doing to really make the S8 or S8 Plus easier to use? Well, that's a question that I keep on getting from friends, families, and subscribers who've just picked up the Samsung S8 or the S8 Plus. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you tips and tricks that I've been giving friends and family and subscribers who've said, what are the first few things I should be doing to the S8? Let's go ahead and check them out. Now, the first few tips are really going to be focusing on access. And let me explain why. Accessing the S8 could be a pain in the butt or it could be really easy. And the reason why is because the fingerprint sensor is now in the back of the phone. It's very difficult to access. Sometimes you're pressing the camera lens, sometimes your finger doesn't press exactly, I would say, firmly on the fingerprint sensor. So it becomes very difficult to unlock and it could be very frustrating. Now, even if you're using Samsung Pay, it becomes a pain in the butt because it used to be in the front. So this first tip is about how do you make it easy to access the phone. Now, fortunately, Samsung has a great way to access your phone, and it works extremely well and it's very fast. And that is enabling the Retina feature so that you can just look at the phone and it will unlock. Now, keep in mind when I show you this, you're not going to have to hold the phone like right in front of your face like you see on the commercial. Literally, I've been able to unlock my phone normally using it as if I normally would as I'm looking at the phone. So let's go ahead and set up this tip so that you can see how it works. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is we're going to go into settings. You're going to go into lock screen and security, and you're going to go into iris scanner. Now, I'm going to go ahead and input my password or my PIN, and now let's take a look at some of the features you have here. This is an area where you'll be able to choose and add your iris scan. Very simple to walk through. All you have to do is follow the screen prompts and you'll add that. Then what you'll want to do is enable iris unlock. Once you do that, it'll be very simple to unlock your phone. There's also some tips here. Notice how it's telling you how you can use it. I can tell you that I have never had to raise it to, to really that eye level, doing how you're seeing it right there. Literally, by looking down at the phone when I turn it on, it works really easily. It does work with contacts and glasses, and I have the transition lenses. And with the transition lenses, the where they go gray, I have no problem with it recognizing my eyes either. I would recommend that when you register it, you do it in your home and not outside because you don't want it to be overly bright, and do it in a normally lit environment. And it's going to be really important, especially for not just women but men who have oily faces, to make sure that your camera is not covered. You could choose a selection mask. I don't go with it, and really I don't even feel it. As soon as I turn on the phone and that recognition piece takes into account, it just logs in. Now, the next access tip is really important, especially when you're driving, because think about it. You're not going to be able to look at your phone to be able to unlock it. So what do? Fingerprint is hard to reach, and also the retina scan, you're driving, you don't want to look at the phone. So there's something called smart lock, and the smart lock feature allows you to pair and trust a device. So for example, I have my watch and my phone. As long as my watch and my phone are connected to each other, my phone will remain unlocked. So if you're in your car and you've paired your phone to your car, you can set it up where your phone is always unlocked as long as it has that connection. Now, if over a 4-hour period, so let's say you're asleep or you're not using your phone for 4 hours, and the devices are close to each other, it's either in the car or you have your watch on your wrist or you have a Bluetooth headphone, what will happen is it will lock and it will give you a message. And let me show you what the message is, because I was testing this last night. So you'll notice here where it says smart locked. Smart lock device locked after 4 hours of inactivity. So it will ultimately lock your phone after 4 hours. But once again, this is great if you're running and you have a Bluetooth headset and you want to be able to keep the phone unlocked, or you're driving your car and you don't want to have to use your fingerprint to do it, or if you're just with the phones in your pocket and you have a smartwatch or a headphone and you don't want to go through the unlocking issues or challenges that present itself because of the fingerprint sensor. So let me show you where you add a trusted device to get smart lock working. So now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and go into settings again, and then we're going to go into lock screen and security, and then we're going to go into smart lock. I'm going to choose this. Now let me go ahead and put in my password. And now what you can do is, you notice, keep your devices unlocked just with that. So you could use body detection, which I don't really recommend. You can have trusted places, which means in your house, at work, a specific location. You could have trusted voice, and in my case, I have a cold, just trying to recover from it. My voice wouldn't work. But then you have trusted devices. So here, for example, is I have two devices that I've trusted. I've trusted my Gear S3, which I have on right here. I've trusted a Bluetooth headset, and I could add another Bluetooth device. So if I haven't done that, I could choose Bluetooth and then look at all of the devices that I have connected and then say this is a trusted device. And if there's a Bluetooth connection between both of them, then what will happen is it will remain unlocked. So that could be your car. Now keep in mind that when you do add a Bluetooth device, it's going to ask you, would you like to add it as a trusted device? And this is why I would do it, so that you can unlock your phone without having to go through all those security features, but still have it secured. Now here's the next access tip. I have my always on display on, and you notice that I have certain things that are there. But now notice on the bottom, let me move this up a little bit. There's a virtual home button. Now the previous Samsung phone had a physical button, and I for one used to press that button to turn on the phone. I would never go to the power button. I would just press it. Well, now it's not there. So how do you get to turn on your phone when you'd like to? So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to press here, and the phone turns on. Now, one of the things that you need to do is know where that home button is. So my next tip is to show you how to use always on to turn on that home button, and then also enable it so that that can wake up your phone. If you don't have a password on your phone, it's going to log you in. If you do, it will bring you into the login section. Now for this tip, you're going to go into settings again. We're going to choose lock screen and security, and then we're going to go down to always on. Now make sure that it's enabled. Now when you go in here, what you're going to first do is you can change the look and feel, so that's something you can play with. But notice over here you have home button and clock information. So I have chosen both. You could do clock or information. You could do home button only, but I did both of them so I can see my clock and my button. Now that's the first step. So you want to make sure that that's selected, and if you select that, what will happen is you'll be able to see both the clock and the home button on the screen. Now the next step, you're going to go into display again, and you're going to go down to navigation bar, and here notice how I have unlock with home. That's going to allow that button on the bottom that you see right here when it's on the always on to unlock your phone. If you have a password or the iris scan or face recognition, it's going to just enable it, so you don't have to press the power button. And because sometimes you may get confused between buttons, especially now that you have this third button here with Bixby. This is a great way to just do that. The other thing you can do is you can adjust the sensitivity. You can either make it more sensitive or less sensitive if you find that the response is not the best one for you. Now the next tip was released on the S7 with the Nougat upgrade, and it really has to do about blue light filters. So let me show you what that's all about. So if we go back into display and we go into blue light filter, this is a really nice feature, because what it does is it makes it easier to read your phone in dark settings. It also has to do with allowing you to fall asleep a lot easier, especially after reading things on your phone. So if you've ever picked up a phone and it's in a dark setting, you may react to the light being too bright and it may hurt your eyes. And when you have that blue light filter on, it kind of softens the actual image. So you could actually adjust that, and you'll notice how I turn it on and off. But one of the things I do is I have it set to sunrise and sunset. Now, you could have a custom schedule, but I normally enable it for this because I travel in multiple time zones, so I just wanted to adjust based on where I am. So I'm going to just turn that on now, or leave it as sunrise to sunset. So here, just make sure that that blue light filter is enabled so that it will do sunrise to sunset, and it will take care of itself. So once again, that's where you see that setting. Now, if for whatever reason, let's say you're in a dark place in a meeting room and you don't want everybody to know that you're the person that's glowing in the room, what you could do here is just by coming into the menu, you can access the blue light filter as well. Now, another tip goes for my family and friends that are coming from the Apple ecosystem, but really focus on those that are using either the Google Pixel, any of the Google type phones, Motorola, and that's a change that really bugs some of them when it comes to navigation. So every company tends to have kind of like a different approach when it comes to these nav buttons. So you'll notice for me, I've been using Samsung a lot, so I kind of like this order. So this is your back home and this is your multitasking button or multi-window. Well, some of you may want to change the order of this and may not like the order that it's in. So I'm going to go into display again, and then I'm going to go back down again and look for the navigation bar. So if you find that the navigation bar doesn't really work for you, you can actually change the order of the nav bar. So you can change the way these things appear. The other thing is some of the other brands have kind of a background. So you notice how there's a background here? Well, you can actually change the color of the background so that it suits your favorite color. So if you're someone who likes red, you can make it red. If you're someone who likes pink, you can make it pink. You can make it whatever color you want. So that's going to give you some personalization. Now, another thing I've been asked about is, while the screen is great, the text is too small. And if you've bought a new computer lately and you've gotten a new monitor, you'll notice that as things become higher resolution, sometimes the fonts get smaller. And while you have all this space, you may want to have the fonts a little bit larger so that they're easier to read. So we're going to go into the settings again. We're going to go into display. And then what we're going to look at is screen zoom. And you'll notice here that you can adjust your font. So I'm going to bring it down one level so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the top. So standard, it's kind of like this. And you may want to make it something like that. So all you do is you adjust that over here. Now, you could do the same thing with the zoom. If you want to change that, you'll notice as I'm changing it, notice how things are getting larger. So this is going to help those of you who really want to have things appear larger on the screen because the resolution is so high. Now, you could also, if you want to change the fonts, you can change the fonts and you can download fonts. But my tip is, if you want to make the text bigger, you can do that, and that will affect the entire application and the experience so that it's easier to read even though you have that high-res screen. Now, the next tip has to do with the screen as well, and that is, how do you make sure that all your apps are maximizing the screen? And this is because you're going to find that in some cases, if you're a game player or you're looking at content, there may be a black bar here and a black bar on the bottom. So there's a way to adjust that, and you can see which applications are going to be suffering or being cut off, tops and bottoms, because they can't take advantage of the full screen resolution. Now, that should be something that changes a little bit later. But for now, what you can do is you can look at full screen apps, and in the full screen apps area, it's going to allow you to make sure that you can enable apps that don't have the ability to do full screen enablement to do that. Now, keep in mind that what you're doing is you're stretching out the app. So in some cases, if it's gameplay, you may be dropping some frames, if it's videos as well, but this is the area where you would go to enable or disable that if that app doesn't support it, so that everything is full screen. Now, as you're scrolling down, what you'll notice that I have a lot of these are grayed out, meaning that they're already defaulted to that. And as you come down here in the bottom, you'll see these are all the ones that I can flip on or off. If they're not there, all you got to do is turn it on, or if you don't like it, you can also turn it off. Now, there's several things that we use our phones for nowadays, and one of them, and the most common one, is using it as a flashlight. So I get a lot of questions of where's the flashlight button? And sometimes when you pull down, you may only see one thing. So if you either pull down twice with two fingers, or you do two-finger swipe like I just did, you'll see all the icons. Now, you may want to be able to rearrange things, and that's something that you could do easily. So what you could do is modify things by choosing that option right there. And let's do that one more time. You're going to go into these three dots. You're going to do button order. And these used to be called toggles. They're calling them buttons. And what you can do is just grab the flashlight one and drag it into the area that you want. And then you just let it go. You can rearrange everything that's on here so that it shows up if that's something that you use the most. So I put everything that I use most. I use Wi-Fi dialing, VPN, and also my flashlight, so I organize it that way. So organize the toggles area, also known as the button area, so that you get your flashlight. All right, now one other tip. If you're coming from the S7 or anything that had a physical button, double tapping this button here brought up your camera. Well, now it's here. If you double press the home button, you'll get your camera, and you'll notice you have an option where what you could do is
turn it on or keep it on or turn it off. I'm going to keep it on. So that means any app, no matter where I'm at in the actual program, all I have to do is press double tap this, and I'll get my camera even if it's off. So double tapping this area is going to give you the power button is going to give you that quick access to the camera shortcut. Now, these are the key changes that you should make in order to have the best experience with your new S8 or S8 Plus. Stay tuned on the channel because I'll have a full complement of tips and tricks that are going to make the experience even better. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and give this video a thumbs up if you like it.